anxiety for days.
This
I like
is
tidy.
this is the tip of the tip.
Oh, I know.
This is the tip right on top of the tip of the collection.
When you die, who gets all this shit? Light a match.
Well, probably some lucky recipients.
I mean, have a giant garage sale.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't.
I just listened to your intro.
Isn't that great? How true though, right? Better to be dead and cool than alive and uncool.
I'd rather be alive and uncool. I might
Probably.
already be alive and uncool.
You could already be dead. All the theories floating around out there these days. Yeah, we could all just be. You and I could have already done this 15 times already.
Feeling a sense of deja vu.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet.
Hopefully we'll get there. Leslie Mitchell in studio today on Joe Braymeyer Presents. Powered by your friends at Treadmill Heroes. Welcome to Wilton, Iowa.
I
Leslie.
know.
Have you ever been to Wilton, Iowa?
No, I've never been to Wilton, Iowa. Yeah, I love your little downtown. It makes me want to go back in time, like Quantum Leap, to the time when it was really bustling and see, because the buildings obviously look like they were built, what, 1920s?
Oh, 1800s.
I mean, how cool.
Yeah.
That would have been so neat to check it out at that time. Of
Yeah.
course, I would have died in childbirth, being a woman at that era, but it would have been neat to see for just like a day. Until I had to go to the bathroom. Then I'd want to get out.
You probably would have ended up with tuberculosis
I
or
would
something.
assume. I'd drink water and that would be unclean and die. I would be dead.
And then I had you come all the way to Wilton.
And you gave me the wrong directions. You gave me the wrong address.
Not even the wrong. Well, I just gave you a wrong address. Yeah, I told you First Street when we were on 4th.
Yeah, I told actually the house. It doesn't even look like a house. It says Grandpa's place. That was the address that you took me to. It's down on somewhere on First Street, and it looks like a metal shelter, like that trucks and cars would be in. But it's got a lot of junk in the front. It looks like maybe it's somebody's house. I don't know.
You went down to First Street. I'm trying to think of where you were all the way down by the cemetery.
Some lady, a big gal, she was riding one of those mowers that were like the big mowers, that you turn like this. And she stopped me when I was just about to call you. And she goes, she waved me to stop and roll my window down, and I did. And she goes, what are you looking for? And I go, does Joe Braymeyer, and obviously, because there was a Braymeyer's Auto,
Sure.
Church driving in town, they know your name. You're the family, you're Wilton. You're a family name in Wilton.
Yeah.
And she said no, and she goes, who are you?
Yeah.
She just said, who are you? And I'm like,
are you some sort of collector? Are you
I am
collecting on a debt? Yeah.
I just go, I am a child of God like you. And then she goes, oh, I'm sorry. It's probably around there.
Oh, that's great. She's like, I'm not allowed to tell you where Joe is if you are a
Maybe.
bill collector or anybody like that. Yeah, he's not here. He's not
You're not
around.
a Wiltonite.
Yeah, I'm born and raised here.
That's cool.
Born and
you
raised.
Stayed, and you're raising your kids here?
No.
Where?
No. We're Bettendorfians.
Shut the front door. So you go to home to, this is here, and you work
Yep.
here, and you go drive home to Bettendorf every day?
Every day.
Wow.
I love that drive.
Oh,
It's
you.
35 minutes driveway to driveway. But I love that drive in. It gives me time to think and reflect, and it gives me time to reflect on the way home.
Decompress so that you're
It's
ready
great.
to go when you enter the door.
It's great. And the people of Wilton tolerate me, but if I lived here, I think it might be too much cake.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think the people of Wilton would feel like they were forced to eat at a Chinese buffet every single day. And even though that's a great place to go eat, you only do it sparingly.
Here's the thing. I think they created the T-shirt for you that says, I'm not for everybody.
Yeah.
But they thought of you and created that T-shirt. And that's fair. I could wear that T-shirt too. I'm not for everybody.
I gave myself a nickname.
Who gives themselves a nickname?
Somebody
How
that's
does that
really
even
full.
work?
Somebody that's really full of themselves.
Jesus.
But I gave myself a nickname. When this type of topic comes up, I call myself Joey Pumpernickel, because there are certain people that love pumpernickel bread,
sure.
but there's a lot of people who just don't like pumpernickel. No matter if someone else tells him how great pumpernickel is, they're not hearing it. And that's kind of how I fancy myself sometimes.
I think you also liked the word.
Pumpernickel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of fun to say.
I'm sure.
It's better than Joey Rye, which that's in my top 3 foods I hate of all time. Rye bread, deal breaker.
That's the best.
I don't see what the problem is.
No. Like if you would have ever asked me to go out on a date with you, I probably would have went. But if you would have ordered me anything with rye, I would have probably.
If we were on a date, I would have never ordered for you because you're the man and I'm the woman.
Oh, yeah, that's probably true. Shows how long it's been since I've been out on a date.
Me too. It's been 20 years easy.
I go on dates with my wife. You go out on dates with your husband, don't you?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we try. It usually ends up in a brewery, which isn't the worst.
We usually end up at the casino.
Do you really?
Yeah, that's our thing. We like all the blinking lights and all the distractions
and
and
sports bar. It's good. They have really good nachos. Nobody thinks to go, I'm going to go to the casino to get nachos. But I would drive to the casino here in town just to get nachos.
How about free nachos every time you're there?
Do you get that?
Oh, yeah.
Because you gamble, right?
Yeah, I don't think we've paid for a meal at the local casinos.
But you have, because how much have you lost?
Oh, believe me, those nachos probably cost me $500 every time I eat them.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's such a destructive lifestyle.
I'd rather pay $20 for the nachos.
I've started recently, Leslie, trying to focus on keeping my energy levels in a healthy place.
Okay.
Like avoiding any negative energy and just trying to always center myself around positive energy.
Cool.
And if you want to get into a negative energy overload, step foot into the casino.
Oh my God.
Just step foot in there and you will feel a wave of negative energy trying to be masked by the lights and the sounds of the machines and everything else. But all the casino is doing is it would be like if I had a ratty old t-shirt that I would wear under my football pads, and instead of washing it, I would just spray it with Febreze. That's like the casino, what they do with negative energy. They know there's so much stank in there, but all they can do is just spray as much Febreze around there to distract you from the stank.
That's funny.
That's profound is what that is.
That's a big word just that you just said just now. Profound.
Oh, I thought you meant that's.
Jesus.
You're
Next topic.
You're a stand-up comedian.
I am. That's one of the things I do, yeah.
And you and I met like 15 years ago. It's been at least 15 years.
At least, yes, I would say.
And then we've had minimal interactions with each other over those 15 years, but I felt oddly comfortable kind of calling you out of the blue saying, hey, I'd love it if you came on my show. Like I was talking to an old pal, and I don't know why you put that energy off, but it's some good energy.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised. I didn't know that this was going on, and you're like, Leslie, come on my show. And I'm like, what is this? All right.
And who are you again?
What is this all about? Do you want something from me? No, come on out. All right, fine.
Yeah.
I'll give you the wrong address. Come on, it'll be fun.
How often are you hitting the stage?
Do I average it out in the month of June every weekend, every Friday, Saturday? And then May was like I maybe had one weekend off. Sometimes I'll have a Friday off. I do it as often as I can. I assume summer is going to be a little lighter. And sometimes I make it lighter by not accepting something, especially if it's a little too far away or my family's got something going on. But this month of June is every weekend, Friday, Saturday.
Where?
I travel a little bit. Like this weekend, I'm going to Ottawa, Illinois. And then and that's on Friday. And on Saturday, I'll be in Springfield, Illinois. And then next weekend, on the 27th of June, I'll be at the Speakeasy in Rock Island in a show. And then on the 28th, I'm somewhere. I didn't look in my book. Where am I? Oh, I'm in Peoria, Illinois.
So, and these are actual shows at this point. This isn't just you're traveling around for open mic nights.
No,
you're out actually doing it.
If I'm posting it, it's not an open mic. It's a show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't post open mics as shows.
Do you still, from time to time, hit the open mics to get the reps in?
I hit one last night just because a friend was in town. He's a salesman, but he's also a stand-up out of Chicago. And we met for beers ahead of time. And he's like, come out to this mic. And it ended up being really fun.
Where'd you go?
We have one open mic at the Broken Saddle, which is in Moline, Illinois. And it's on Wednesday nights. And anybody can sign up if they want to give it a try. You could sign up if you wanted to give it a try. I think you get like 4 to 5 minutes, depending on how many people show. And it could be anything, just depends. You could have actual audience members. You can have just a room full of comics and a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. A lot of times, like recently, my husband just got back last night. He was on Army duty. And so...
What's that mean?
He will get a small deployment or a school that he needs to attend. He's an Army reservist, but he gets sometimes full orders, and it can be anywhere from a month, 3 months, 6 months.
No kidding?
Yeah, 9 months sometimes. The last big one he had was supposed to be a year, and it was a stateside deployment in 2019 to MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, and then COVID happened, and so he ended up stretching that to 2.5 years just because of COVID and vaccines, and they didn't want to switch people out and get new people in. They wanted to keep who they had in that base, which ended up, God knows a way, because I work in marketing, and my biggest clients in marketing are restaurants, breweries, hotel chains. So when COVID happened, those are the top things that you don't do.
Yeah.
You're not traveling. You're not eating out. You're not going out to places, public. So I actually lost all work, and he was working, and he stayed working and kept us kind of going, which was nice.
At this point now, you're making a few bucks doing this, right? I mean,
comedy?
Yeah.
It depends. It's
for the love of the game. I get it, but
yeah, same thing with podcasting.
Yeah,
it's you better do this because you like it, or enjoy it, because it's more work than you thought it would be. Mm-hmm. It can be the most wonderful, like riding high. Got paid really well. People loved you. Where can I get booked again? Meet new comics. Work with them again down the line. You know each other. Start hanging out, and then it can be giant shit shows.
Really?
Oh sure. Didn't make any money, probably spent money in gas. Like there's been times where I'm like, I can either get a hotel room and now I'm in the hole for the weekend, or I can just power through energy drinks and get my butt home in a 3-hour, 11 p.m. to, 2 a.m. drive, and then just feel the pain of that the next day at home.
Yeah, but you're home.
But I'm home.
But you're home.
I'm kind of learning, because sometimes I'll travel with somebody that might be a feature, or I'm their feature, and then we can ride together, keep each other, company, that kind of thing. But for the most part, I've gotten paid enough that I can stay in a hotel, or I've been trying to push them. The people I've met, they're in areas where maybe a family member lives or a good friend, and I crash at their house. Or I've been kind of building up my stamina, I guess, to about 2.5 hours. So when a show is over, I can power it out. And sometimes you're kind of pumped and energized.
Yeah, there's no greater high than coming off a stage knowing that you entertained an audience. There's no greater high.
Well, there's two different emotions. Like one that keeps you going, that keeps you awake behind the wheel, is one, you did so terrible that all you're doing is reliving that in your head. You're like, what could I have said different? I wish I would have handled that different. And you can talk that in your head all the way home. Or you had such a great show that you're like, woo. The shows that you go to bed and you just pass out sleeping are the ones you're like, I did a good job.
Yeah.
Nothing exciting, nothing bad. I did my job. It was good. Go to sleep.
Are you self-critical?
Not any. Depends. I'm not at all when it comes to improvisation.
You can't be. You can't be at improv.
I used to be. I've just done it long enough. I've done improv for 30 years now. I know what to do, so to speak, and now it's because where I'm at in the improv game, I only perform with people I know, and they're already at that same level as me, so the errors are very minimal. And in improv, you don't even consider an error because it's a gift, and you work with it. But I work with people I enjoy, and they're all really high level as well. So there's nothing to be really. It's just like going out with your friends. It's hanging out. That kind of thing. So there's never, oh, we should have fucked up. We fucked up. We had to fix this. Very rarely. I mean, it happens, but it's very rare.
Really?
And stand up, yeah, where I usually kind of kick myself just a little bit is every show I'll write out based on how much time I get. I'll write out my jokes. Here's what jokes I'd like to tell that night. Then I get to the venue. And I'll start looking at the audience. You
observe things. Sure. You start to breathe the air. And all of a sudden, you start to notice things that, ooh, that's something. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But I'll notice the quality of the people, the caliber of the people, not the quality, excuse me. I'll notice, are they mostly young? Are they mostly old? And I get sometimes the benefit of hearing the host speak first. He's first person on stage. He or she might take a couple jokes, and you get, based on how they laughed. Was it a dirty joke and they really laughed? Okay, this crowd wants filthy, or this crowd wants smart. Sometimes there's really quiet crowds, but that's because they're listening. They want to hear a well-crafted joke or story. And I kind of sit back and I'm able to go, okay. And I might look at my list and go, that's out. Let's move this down. Let's put this here. And then maybe a comic tells something or makes a comment that I'm like, I want to bring that back because that would be funny to call it out. If it's soon enough that I get to go up, because
where it's fresh,
it's fresh to the audience, then I'll bring it up. Maybe not, you never know. We'll see. And so that helps me tremendously. So if I see there was a show once that somebody's like, you friggin' killed Leslie, you're so awesome. I'm like, of course I am. The audience was pretty much all 50-year-old women. We're all in menopause together.
Yeah.
So all my fuck yeah, they hit. Of course they're going to hit.
Yeah.
I can't lose when it's my own people. You know what I mean?
Well, sure. And all that improv's got to give you just a ton of clubs in the bag, too. Let's go back to improv for a second. Because I have to imagine when you have had a career within that.
Yeah.
You don't just use one special tool one time and then throw it out. You put it back in your bag and you might pull it. It might be a year, but there might be a scenario within the improv, right, that calls for something where you've got that thing in the back of your mind and you're like, I haven't used this forever and it would fit great, right? Not that you can't plan anything out in improv.
Right.
Do you know what I mean by that?
No.
You're squinting a little bit, and so I'm gathering that you don't really get that. So it's almost like I've got some one-liners that I've used throughout my whole life.
That's
right?
not improv.
No, I know that's not improv. You know what? You're right. You don't have any clubs in the bag. It's all has to be raw and organic.
Yeah.
But that's why you're so good at stand-up, is because you can go into a place and go, there's something in the air here. There's something that everybody is thinking that no one has said yet, and I've keyed in on what that is, and I'm going to bring that to light when you're on the stage. Do you do that at all in your head?
To a certain degree, and I think so. Like if the room is all young people, if it's older people, if they reacted to earlier comics that talked about. Here's a great example. I have been a lot of times in the Midwest, and I've gotten to work with some excellent comics that are just local people that just living their lives like me, and they just happen to be great comics. And there are a few that a lot of their jokes is about smoking pot. They like pot. And so they have jokes about that. Now, I still think they're incredibly witty in how they put those jokes together. You put them in a small town like Wilton. We do a bar show in Wilton, Iowa. you know the kind of people you're going to get in Wilton, Iowa.
Yep.
I would assume that if I have jokes about drinking beer, about my husband, about the Hawkeyes versus the Cyclones, whatever, those are going to hit. But smoking weed probably might not hit.
Might not hit.
So I've seen great comics that maybe are younger that talk about that kind of stuff, and they just get blank stares because you have to relate to your audience.
Well, and you're a one-trick pony, too.
Well, that's just who they are and what they like. If they go to a bigger city where maybe they are a gay a comic that happens to be gay, and so a lot of their jokes are gay, they're going to do great in a bigger city. They might not do good in a small town that has one Catholic church. You know what I mean? And or they're different ethnicities or politically, motivated comics, and so they have to see that. Oh, I'm not gonna probably do well in this room, but they just go, this is what I got for comedy, and I'm just going to punch it out and see what happens. And that's the tricky part. Because I always thought, I'm not going to do well in a college town. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I have some jokes that are like that can work for young people, but I can't talk about, what am I going to talk about, menopause to a 20-year-old girl?
Yeah.
She's scared shitless as it is. She's worried about getting pregnant.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I'm worried about. Bring it on.
What's an easier crowd to get in front of for you? An open mic crowd or a paying crowd?
Paying crowd.
It's way easier, right?
Yeah. Just like anything in life, if you paid, then you're invested. If it's free, I ain't going. I ain't going to treat this good.
Yeah, and I certainly don't owe myself anything, or I don't owe the performer anything. It was free anyway.
I've done free bar shows where there's like old guys sitting at the bar, and then they got bored and they decided to watch like cop videos on their phone. And since they're 80, they have the volume up.
Oh,
they
so
have
you
no
could
idea what's going on. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That happens more often than you think. Or people just walk in and they're already loud and they want to be the hit, because I think a lot of the latest thing is like crowd work and clips you see of like Matt Rife, stuff like that.
Yep.
So a lot of people coming to a show, they just assume they're going to be in it themselves, especially a free show. And if it's in a bar, that's a whole nother ball of wax, because they could be sitting there for an hour or so already drinking. They might be 5 beers in when you take the stage and they think they're funny.
How do you feel about crowd work yourself?
I'm not quite good at it. I'd rather do scripted work. I think, which is funny, and I think I missed a point somewhere along the line. And somebody said this to me recently. They're like, you've been an improviser forever. Why don't you incorporate more improv into your stand-up? And I was treating them as separate entities, like artistically. And I thought, this is this, and this is that. And that's how I'm going to treat it. And I'm starting to kind of understand their point of view, which was, no, you should mix it. And so right now I'm trying to be more let it go, or let something happen when it comes to crowd work. But I get torn because I worked so hard at the jokes I wrote, the work I've put in, and I only have so many minutes on the clock, and I want to share it. But am I forcing that share instead of being in the moment? So it's a quick decision on stage of what your goal is when you do interact with me. Are you trying to like take the spotlight and ruin a show for the audience? Or do you have a little something, it just happened and I can work with it and turn it into something? I'm still figuring out what that looks like.
Yeah.
Now, that's that. And I think there's obviously a place somewhere for it, because when moments organically happen, you're like, yeah, I should calm down, not, because we've lived enough life that when you force something to happen, it can turn kind of into garbage.
It's a feeling.
Like,
it's a feeling.
There's many times on vacation where you were like, we're supposed to be at paragliding at 3:00, and then you walk past this cool little taco stand and they have buckets of beer on ice, and you're like, well, let's just pull in here for a minute If we miss paragliding, fuck it. It was a $50 deposit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're going to
Yes.
have this moment and talk to this other couple and have a fun time. So I get really kind of have to calm down, but I also have to judge what that moment is, because there's been moments where the person in the audience just wants to be the star for whatever reason.
And they're just some loud person that
they're just some loud person. Now, on the other hand, I'm very torn because I've seen good young comics with a lot of potential see that Matt Rife stuff, see other comics that do crowd work, and they think that's where it's at. That's what I got to do. I got to have tools in my toolbox. And they forget to write. And they stand on stage and they go, "Where are you from?" And you're like, "Oh, fuck me. This is good. This is going to be."
Yeah.
They make 5 minutes seem like an hour.
Yeah.
And then they want clips. They want followers. That's what it's about. And somewhere along the line, they started writing. They had good jokes. And now they think, I got to be this.
See, that's exactly what I was kind of trying to say with the improv thing and having some things in the back of your mind. Guys like Matt Rife,
Yeah.
although it's very organic with the crowd, I think he has things that pop into his mind throughout his normal day-to-day. Just maybe it's a one-liner and he goes, that might be something funny to say to an audience member at some point. If it fits, I'll just store it way back here. And if it pops up, I've already got that kind of on my belt.
Sure.
And so that's, and you're right, that's not improv. That's just live audience work right there.
Yeah, and to be fair, Matt's been doing it a long time. Props to him. He does it well. And it also works in clips where you don't see what happened before, what happened after. Was it a kind of dog shit interaction and he got a couple little gems?
Yep.
You don't know. All we know now is he's worth like $100 million and living his
Crazy.
best life. And kudos to him. He deserves every penny of that. Maybe 99 and just give me $1 million.
Yeah.
I'll open for him. But if you live enough life, there's these little moments you have. You probably have innuendo, little jokes that you can just say one word and your wife gets it. Do you know what I mean? But that happened 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and my husband and I do too. We might be watching Family Guy 10 years ago and a line happened in that, and then
you just pull it out.
Forever. Now it's forever, So like he walks across the room naked and I'm like, "Why are you naked?" And he goes, "Why aren't you naked?" You know what I mean? And that came from Family Guy when we watched it however long ago. And so Matt Rife probably has those little moments.
Yes.
And here's the thing too. It's not like he banks those. Do you think people are really that different that when he goes to Des Moines one night and Minneapolis another, he's not going to see some of the same human beings? We're really not that different of human beings.
Yeah.
Except when you're in a small town, maybe you don't do weed jokes.
Yeah, there's a culture.
Yeah, a little bit. But for the most part, we all like our dads annoy us or, the basic things, we all have them.
How do you work through your material?
I do little things like you said with Wright. Just this sounds funny. I'm working on a new joke now. Maybe I'll just give it to you. So I'm a total Midwestern girl. I love doing yard work.
Okay.
And I have I tried this joke out the other night and it worked. I'm like, it was a Saturday night. Now we're in this club, dark, cold, air conditioning, drinking beers. You're the kind of guy that looks like during the day, I did yard work. I did shit outside. Now I'm tired. Nothing better than sitting in a cold room, drinking beers. Somebody hands me. Awesome. But I'm a Midwestern person. So when I do yard work, my garage door's open. And my boom box is playing. And it's the boom box I had when I was 14 in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And the antenna's kind of broke. And the music that the station I can get in my garage on that boombox with the half-ass antenna, I don't know if it's B100, I don't know if it's 97X, but it advertises itself as the music of the 90s and 2000s. That's awesome. That's me.
Yeah.
That was me at 20-something,
Sure.
just graduating college, on my own, like working as a waitress, single girl, with hopes and dreams and goals, and that was the music of my generation. Advertised on the radio station, music of my generation. Cool. rocking away in the yard with that.
Love it.
But then it occurred to me, the commercials for that radio station, would they also be the commercials for my generation?
No.
Because apparently my generation has a lot of mesothelioma, needs a hypnotist to stop smoking, and needs to get out of a timeshare.
Oh, that's great.
So apparently that's what my generation.
And they need to invest in gold. Yes. Yeah. Gold and silver.
And I got laughs on that. 'Cause you know why? Because there were people my age in that audience that know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So you just come up with a thought like that, and then you will just work it out in kind of a longer format. Like I've watched a lot of your stuff, and you kind of take people on a little bit of a ride, which is great.
A little bit, and then some jokes tap into the same thread later. It's almost like going on a long road trip, and you might have stops along the way. And there's a couple real short ones that I like to throw in. And then there's stuff that happens in life that I just add on, that just kind of happened. Like it was a conversation that you and I had that I'm like, what the fuck's that all about? And then I say it on stage.
Yeah.
Give it a try. And I don't go to so many open mics for 3 reasons. One, there's not very many in my town. There's only one. And so if I'm not available that night, that I missed that open mic. The other one is I have things to do in my family life and home life responsibilities or even my job. If that takes too long, I'm not ready. I also have a thing of if I didn't have I have a kind of a mental thing. If I didn't have anything new to say, maybe I won't go.
Got it.
But if I have a new joke that I haven't said a lot, it's just the practice of saying it, then I'll say it. Then I might go. You know what I mean? But the really good open mics that I like, I have to drive an hour. And that means that Eric has to be home and things have to be done early in advance. And it makes it a little tricky. So if I have shows more consistently, I'll just be like, I'll stick that in the middle if I'm doing good and throw that in.
Well, and open mics are interesting, especially for a new comic. One, yes, it's a tough crowd. But two, it's usually... you got nothing to lose crowd. It's a smaller crowd. You probably have half of them are comics sitting in there waiting for their turn, and then you got other people, like I said, in a bar, like the smaller local ones,
sure.
Right? And that's a good way to get some serious batting practice in, where you don't have anything to lose and you can work things out.
Yeah, you're really just practicing saying it. And if you're a young comic or you want to give it a try, that's all you have. That's what you have to do. But it's also a great way to meet people and make friends that are also other comedians. And comedians are pretty on the nose. Like if they thought you had a good joke, they'll come up to you and go, that was a good joke. You know what I mean? Like, I liked that. Or the way you said that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they didn't think you were funny, they just won't talk to you.
Yeah, they won't fake it. Like I'm not good at faking. I suck at faking. There's times where I wish I was a little bit better at it because
right. Don't lie. I never lie. Yeah. Here's what I do if I don't lie. It's good to see you, Joe.
Oh, say something else.
It was nice to see you. And it was nice to see you. But if you weren't funny, I'm not going to tell you you're funny.
Yeah, I'm maybe not fake, but sometimes phony. You know how sometimes a little phony goes a long way, and
Give me an example.
Like
I just can't lie. It's just because, and for another reason is, if you tell the truth, it's easy to remember.
Oh, that's just it. People say that all the time. How does Joe get away with saying all that all the time? And it's like, well, I've always been just say what's on my mind and mean it and say it from a genuine place. But, I think some comics that experience a lot of success are the ones that aren't afraid to say what they feel everybody's thinking, even if it might be a little, oh my gosh, a little bit out there.
Well, other comics do too. I don't see them not doing it. They're just not known.
Yeah.
I think it's getting harder and harder to be known as a comic. You have to be really the top tier because there's so many comics. There's so many good comics out in the world today that you don't even know. And that blows my mind. That calms me down when I'm like, oh. Not that I think that way. Not that I think I'm going to ever do anything with this. I might go another tier up if I kind of keep working.
Yeah, but you're up some tiers. You're definitely up some tiers. I mean, you're a well-known comedian, at least in our area.
In my own backyard.
In your own backyard, but it's better than not even being known in your own backyard.
I don't think it matters. it's something you do for fun. Do you give a shit if anybody hears this podcast?
I do, but here's on the other end of that coin. I am totally at peace with the rate of growth that this show is doing.
Sure.
And it is a very slow growth, but it's a real organic growth. And it's and it's building a real, I feel, at least a real rooted base of people who, for whatever reason, are kind of into whatever I'm doing for no good reason. But there is a group of people, and so do I care if people enjoy what we're doing?
You care to put a good product out.
Yeah, I want to put a good product, but I'm not bummed if it doesn't do well. I just look at it now like that's just part of the process, and whether something gets 400 views or 10,000 views, it's like, well, that one piece got 400 people at least watched that for a second. That was kind of cool.
Kind of neat, right?
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
So I get you to that degree, and you're meeting neat people along the way.
Yes.
So I think I've been doing stand-up. I started kind of dabbling my toe in like 2018 with my friend Jen Cool, who's a comedian in Des Moines, and she's one of the 3-person long-form improv troupe, as well as my third cousin. So there you go. So she kind of took me along because there's no women. There's really no women. There's very few of us. So I was scared. I'm like, oh, these are all young guys, and they're talking about pot and shit I don't know or understand. And I look like their mom. Like I need somebody to kind of coattail on. And she taught me, like, you time your sets. You don't go over the light. All the real rules to not be a dick. You know what I mean? In comedy.
Yeah.
And I learned them from her. And then as I slowly got going, COVID happened. And then when we all shut down, and I did little things like we were told we were only shut down for a month. We were told shut down for a month.
I remember a lot of silly things.
And I said, I know what I'll do. Every Friday, I will go on Facebook Live, and I will do a few jokes that I wrote. And I'll call it like Leslie's Happy Hour, and friends tune in. And because I'm in the running community and my church community is pretty good too, like a lot of people tuned in, and they would have it. I go, get a drink. Let's have a drink together.
That's great.
And that's what we did. And it was really fun. And then with Eric being so far away in Tampa, Florida, and he wants nothing to do with social media, which is kind of nice because I kind of represent both of us. I started doing a poll because I started telling running stories, things I would tell, funny things I would say if we were going for a long run. Runners are hysterically funny. When we go on long runs, you talk about everything.
You talk while you're running?
You have to. If you're not running at a conversational pace, then you're probably working too hard.
Shouldn't be running.
Yeah, something's going on. Something's going on.
Okay.
But runners talk about everything. Like it's a therapy, what books to read, what movies, our wives, our kids, our husbands, our in-laws. And towards the end of a run, it's hysterical. Runners start talking about food.
Really?
Oh, man. Happy Joe's Taco Pizza, son of a bitch. And it's so funny, like, because you get 10 miles in, you're like, damn, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
For real shit. And they just start talking food. But I would start to tell stories when it came to running. And so when I went back to those 4 Fridays, I started doing a poll at the end. I go, I can end with a joke or an Eric story. And people started chiming in. We want an Eric story, and my husband, he's most of the fodder for marriage is a big talking subject.
Yeah,
which it's good for me to get it out. And when I say it in front of a live audience about marriage, or I'll tell a husband story, it makes me. Your laughter tells me, oh. Every husband's kind of like this.
We're all in on it.
Like
yeah.
that. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to kick him to the curb. He's great. Yeah, he's better than most. Or he's right in par with how husbands would act to stuff. And it's fun, too. It makes you feel not alone, me not alone. And in this moment together, we're like good friends. So that kind of got me through COVID times, even though I was isolated with telling jokes live on Facebook And then when we came out of COVID, there were some outside shows people were doing, comedians. And all of a sudden, these comics that I had seen from afar and were kind of nervous about because they're 25 and a guy and 30 and a guy, they were so happy to be around other people that they were just so embracing. They're like, oh man, it's so good to see you. Oh, that sucked. And so I made a lot of friends almost instantaneously just in being able to come back together.
Yeah.
And so I've got some really, nice people that I get to do a lot of comedy with. And then there's people that I can go, yeah, I haven't seen Ben in a while. I'll go there because I know he'll be there. Or I'd love to travel and see if John will meet me at this comedy club and that kind of thing. So I felt more welcomed after COVID came out. And that's when I started to kind of get at. But prior to that, I was just doing open mics and kind of tagging along. There weren't shows like there are now. There seems like there's lots of shows to be a part of.
Okay. COVID wasn't only funky when it came to just being isolated.
Yeah.
The culture itself was very sensitive during that time. There was a period in time when stand-up comics were going, am I allowed to say that right now? There was a cancel culture that was going on for a long time. Like, what was your take on all of that?
I try to stay away from that kind of stuff, to be honest. My comedy doesn't even seem to come close to cancel culture.
But it seemed like there was a lot of things out there that people were just picking apart. They're like, really? That's not offensive at all. So really what I want to know is, were you did you ever look at some of your material and second guess it for the first time when under normal circumstances you wouldn't have?
I'll be honest with you. I do have one kind of through line. Well, first of all, cancel culture, we hear a lot about that there's almost like a vibe shift now that there's not as much.
Yes.
But when cancel culture was at its height, I felt like living in the Midwest, we're kind of too busy for that shit. Treat each other normally like a good human being. What is it? The Beatitudes. Just treat like you would want to be treated. And I felt like as a Midwesterner, we kind of didn't have to deal with that.
You're right.
Honestly, I do have a little through line where I talk about that I like manly men. I like thick, hairy dudes. That manly fucking men. And I see a lot of young men, and I feel bad for young women because they're skinny and they're weenie and like I have to pick them up, Yeah. And I don't like that. And I think as much as women want to be open-minded, and as much as women are just killing it, work-wise, education-wise, like we can buy our own shit. We don't need a man, but we still want a man. You know what I mean? Still want a man.
It's in our beings.
And so I talk about that. But I also feel like I'm talking about it because I want real men to be okay to be real men. And I want young men to know that, yeah, please, we want you to.
Yeah, beat your chest a little.
It's okay. As long as you're not beating me.
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
Beat your chest. But I grew up with a dad and brothers that could not be more loving and kind to their wives and daughters, but they're hairy bitches, I got a brother that's like a silverback gorilla.
Yeah.
He knows how to fix shit. He can build a deck. He's a badass. Drives a motorcycle. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's doing all the dude stuff.
Yeah. And I have a joke kind of like that, but I also, just being Midwestern, I think we're just, I don't want to say we're better. I just don't think we buy into the bullshit.
You're right. And it was interesting when you said that because I wasn't on stage doing any kind of comedy. So my perspective as a comic, even though I'm not one, I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes. I'm basing that off of what I saw on TV and out there. So it's a good perspective from you because you were actually saying, I was doing it, and it wasn't hitting us as hard as maybe the East or West Coast.
Well, and in truth, I was doing it from a Midwest perspective, right? So most of my comedy is Midwest. I'm Midwest, so I write Midwest comedy. I write me, And I've gone to some, had comedy with other people from coasts that are a little bit more liberal. I respect them. It's not like it's not funny. It's still funny. It's just who they are and the way they were raised. But I remember hearing, I don't know, being a Midwesterner, I can only do it I can only say from my perspective. When the Me Too movement was going on, I sat there in my helmet and go, yeah, me too. What woman doesn't take shit of all these levels? I feel like every single woman did. I just know that I got shit to do today, so I can't cry about it or things that happened in the past. I feel like I handled my shit, and now I see the benefits by having my family in my life. And I'm gonna pay attention to the women that are in my world, my nieces, and make sure that they're okay. But I'm not gonna cry. I've got too much shit to do to cry about stuff. And as a woman, when you're saying the culture was presented to us from the coast as if it's the only culture to have, there were women that cried Me Too that I was like, maybe I don't know if you're right. And I stayed shut up about that because also I had too much shit to do. Why should I be crying? You'll never see me at a protest. I have to mow the lawn. I got to go to Aldi. I got to get a mammogram. By the time that protest is already done, because I'm not, and I don't even know what it's about because I was busy. I had to fold laundry. You know what I mean?
That's just it. You see these protests right now, and it's like, don't they have to be at least logged on somewhere? Aren't they? They need to be working. Like, where do these thousands and thousands of people come from? I mean, you know what?
I got too much to do. Good on you. If you feel that strongly about something, and I too, if I felt so strongly about a subject matter,
maybe, okay. Yeah, I might show up to a meeting. Dude, I was
born a Cubs fan. Blue and red all the way. I'm happy they're in first place. You know when the last time I saw a game was this year? Never.
Do you go to Wrigley often?
Once a year if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
And I'm going this year, but I didn't pay attention to if they won today or if they even had a game today. I'm like, oh, the Cubs, awesome. I love them.
Yeah.
But I don't have that kind of time. Who has this kind of time to cry and moan and bitch?
I don't know.
You're not busy enough.
And by the way, do you live on the Iowa or the Illinois side?
Iowa side. I like my money.
Yeah, same here. The dirt is just a little cheaper. Over in Iowa.
Gas and groceries and all sorts. I mean, they can get Yuengling, though. That's what my dad says.
They can or can't?
They can. They sell Yuengling beer in Illinois. They never used to sell it this far west.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can get Yuengling.
So it's Yuengling beer used to stop in Illinois?
Oh, no. It used to stop a lot. Like you would have to, if your friends were going to Pennsylvania or Florida, it's only East Coast. I think it's the oldest brewery. Ask your listeners, is Yuengling, if whoever is listening.
I thought Yuengling was like a Chinese beer.
Oh, shut what?
Yeah.
Shut the hell up. It's like the oldest brewery in America.
I thought that was Stroh's.
Oh, I feel
or Hams.
I feel more upset by that comment than any Me Too. Any Me Too.
Like, we have family out east. And Yuengling, I've seen it in the fridges. I always thought that was a foreign beer.
It's hard to get. No, it's the oldest brewery, I think, and active brewery in America. And it really didn't travel too far east. And now, like when Eric was stationed in Florida and stuff, my dad would make him bring cases home. And I've had runner friends that drive to Florida for a race, and they're like, my one buddy used to post online. He's like, I drove my pickup truck to this race in like Georgia, and he's like, anybody want Yuengling? I'm buying 30 cases.
It's like the spotted cow thing.
I like spotted cow.
Ooh, that gives me a headache.
Really? But you probably wouldn't like Yuengling because it's kind of it's a pretty solid lager in general. Yeah, spotted cow gives you a headache.
Well, I gotta be straight with you, Leslie. I used to be able to obliterate beers. Like I could drink a case of beer throughout a hot summer day. Not proud of that. But now, even if I just have a couple beers, like let's say 3 or 4 beers, I know I'm going to have a little bit of a twinger in the morning. It's terrible. So I don't know what to do.
Maybe it's a good thing. I can't drink as much as I used to. I'd rather have a lighter beer if I can. Or the best thing of these, and the Quad Cities has amazing craft breweries. Amazing. Like that is, it's just this unspoken awesomeness that Quad Cities has got good breweries. But they will not hand out, you have to pay for it, 5-ounce pours. So if you're like, I want to taste some beers, you've gotten flights at.
This is where?
At any brewery in the Quad Cities.
Oh, any of the 1,000 microbrews that are around the QC?
Eric, my husband counted. I think we have 13, but there's 4 that's like the main ones you want to hit.
The microbreweries, I just could never get into it. It was just
That's fair.
too trendy. I don't have jeans where the ankles are super tight. I don't have a stocking hat that I wear just on the back of my head. I don't have a 26-inch waist and no butt. And I feel like those are the guys that hang out at those microbrews.
No, there's manly men.
No way.
Yeah, they love it. They love a good craft brew.
I've seen far more
Busch Light, Mr. Wilton.
No, if we went and counted jeans at a microbrew, I guarantee we would count more skinny jeans than we would boot cut.
No, we would.
There is no way you'd count more boot cut jeans.
I will make a deal with you. Yep, I promise you. No way. No way. It's manly men or middle management.
Which
khaki pants.
Middle management's going to be looking for jobs as soon as AI takes a big bite out of their butt here. Which I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm dead wrong. But no. There's. If you go, are we talking the same thing?
Can we agree to disagree? Yeah.
Probably.
Craft breweries, 5 Cities, Wake, Stomp Box Brewing, Adventurous, the best one in the Quad Cities.
But you have
the greatest designs.
Okay. Are there more weightlifters in those areas, in those bars? Are there more weightlifters or runners?
Runners.
Runners for sure.
Yeah.
The craft beer craze is rampant within the running tribes, right?
Runners love beer. And that's so funny because, when we knew each other through Comedy Sports, or you tried out and took classes at Comedy Sports, they had the establishment, that an old movie theater in Rock Island.
That was so cool.
It was very cool. And it's because it was so big, every year for quite a few years, the Corn Belt Running Club would have their annual meeting. And they'd vote for members and they'd sell stuff. And it was a great way to all gather in one day. And the owner of of Comedy Sports, Patrick Adamson, rented the space to them. And then he was so surprised. I remember seeing his face. I can still see it. He got one other friend, somebody to help him behind the bar. And because he goes, they'll just drink waters, maybe a Diet Coke. He was so slammed. Making drinks and beer. He was shocked. He was sure that these healthy runners would just be goat cheese, lavash, and water. No, hamburgers and beer, baby. They don't fuck around. But then you run 10 miles
then
at a stretch.
Run.
You eat whatever you want.
Patrick Adamson is the owner of Comedy Sports?
Not anymore. They gave that up just before COVID.
Did they just button it up?
Yeah, somebody else owns it now, actually. Bob Kelly. Bob Kelly was a member of Comedy Sports when the Adamsons ran it, and he took it on his own, and he runs Comedy Sports out of the Spotlight Theater in Moline. Yeah. And they're about to have, they call it championship with all the other, because there's 25 to 30 other Comedy Sports across the country. And so they're going to host championship coming up.
I think I'd like to get back involved in
How
improv.
do you have all of these things going on? You have time for that stuff?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I wanted to do an open mic night a couple Wednesdays ago, and I thought I would just go knock one out. And I'm like, what are you doing, dude? You're investing so many hours a week in this, which is great. I mean, I love it. It charges my batteries. And then with, Treadmill Heroes and all the different things.
And children.
And our kids are busy with sports and my wife's busy too. And so I thought that might go over like a turd in a punch bowl if I go and say, hey, hon, I'm going to leave here for 3 hours and go do an open mic night across the river. And
do you need it?
I don't know.
There's so many fun things, and people have their things. But at some point, and you're talking to somebody that overschedules herself constantly. I'm constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul in everything I do because everything sounds fun. And that's my bad. I think everything sounds fun. Ask me to do something. Holy crap, that sounds fun. And then I have to go look at the calendar and go, oh, I bought Eric and I tickets to see Weird Al Yankovic in concert.
That would have been fun. It sounds like this is turning into a would have been. It's going to be fun.
But Eric's best friend is going to go with him because I double booked myself and I've got a show.
Where?
Where's Weird Al?
Where are you going and where's Weird Al?
I'll be at the Speakeasy on the 27th.
Okay.
And Weird Al is going to be at the Des Moines Civic Center. If I just seen a documentary about him and he sounds amazing, and I come to find out he sells out tours worldwide. He is consistently ranked as one of the best concerts for the imagination, creativity,
and the musical ability.
And he sings a lot of songs. There's songs we all know the songs that we knew from our childhood.
Yep.
But he has other songs, and I was like, wow, this sounds so fun. And I asked my husband, do you want to do this? And he's like, that sounds kind of cool. And so I love when Eric agrees to what I say. And so I bought tickets, and then I went to write it on the calendar because we keep a calendar and it hangs on our fridge. And I went, shit.
Oh.
And then I went, well, Lane can go. Because I also want my husband to have these fun experiences. I don't want to go off and have my fun and just know that he's sitting home watching the dog.
And even though he'd be happy to do that, but why can't we get past that guilt? Why can't we just allow ourselves to not feel guilty, even though because the other party's sitting there going, no, go. I don't feel bad that I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel terribly guilty. I just don't want to do it to him a lot. And I also don't want, I want to do something with him. It was kind of just a faux pas on my part that I didn't get to do that with him. And then I found a weekend that I hadn't been booked in July, and he was available, and I'm like, I know he loves going fishing, and so we're gonna go up north and go fishing as a family. We can take the dog, and so I have to stop and go, you know what, this is family time, because I'll say yes to anything that seems pretty fun, and a lot of things seem fun.
Yeah, I think sometimes my problem, I'm into too many things, and I like social type stuff. I like being around people.
Me too.
I do. I like being around people.
My favorite part of the stand-up is talking to people after the show. Is just you get to meet an interesting person. There's young friends of mine that they get so nervous, maybe not even young, but older, and they're like, just a first date, They're like, oh God, I haven't been on a date in forever, and what am I gonna do? I'm still scared. I'm like, you are just meeting. You don't need to see your children in their eyes.
Yeah.
This is just a beer and just meet an interesting person on the planet. That's all you're doing is you're meeting an interesting person on the planet. Don't go over 3 hours. If you liked them, maybe 4. If you like them and you'd want to go talk to them more, ask them in that date, do you want to go on another one? And then calm down, just take it from there. But there are so many people that go, well, I don't know them, so I'm not going to go. And I'm like, but you're just meeting an interesting person on the planet,
Do you think, I just thought of this.
So go to the protest.
Yeah, you should totally protest. You need to burn something. Yeah, destroy something too while you're there.
They're not all like that, I hope.
Do you think dating now is the stakes are higher than they maybe were 20 years ago from the simple fact that there are less people interested in belly to belly interactions because we're belly to belly right now, right? Do you think there's there's less people there's less people interested in belly to belly interactions, especially on a first date, than there might have been 20 years ago because everybody's just so used to communicating through a device?
I think there's so many things at play. In general, there's so many things at play and I feel bad for young people because they watch lives happen on their phones, and everybody's life on their phone is so cool, and theirs might not be. And not only that, let's say you had a blind date with someone and it was on Wednesday. You made the date on Monday. Okay. That person had from Monday to Wednesday to find everything they could on you online.
Oh, yeah.
And they could make their assessment of you and then walk in with their thought in their head of who you are. And then there's that fear of what they see in their phones, the worlds in their phones. How do I ever become that person? That fakeness or that falseness, rather. It's false. Because every once in a while, you'll have people that put that they had a bad day. Nobody wants to hear that shit.
No, I don't want to hear that.
It's the technological equivalent of me and you meeting randomly in like Blaine's Farm and Fleet. I'm like, Joe, how you doing? What are you gonna say?
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah,
not too bad. Yeah.
What if you had a flat tire that day? Your wife was upset with you.
Yeah.
You ripped your favorite shirt. You have to take a shit.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna tell them that in aisle 4.
Some people will. I wouldn't, but
Very
rarely.
Rarely. Though. So it's and then add technology on top of that, and people stay more sedentary. They don't go out and they don't become a part of things as much. So I feel bad for people that want to date. Then you add environmental factors, like they say, I make the joke about skinny guys and stuff like that, but, or overly chubby guys.
Yeah.
And it's messy, right? That's a simple way to say, men have less testosterone now than ever before, and there's more processed foods in the world, and people live with depression because they're looking on their phones and they're seeing these lives that aren't really looking like their life, and more people than ever are comparing their life to other people's.
That's the big one you got to avoid.
Yeah, but that's the big one that's increasing because you're watching other lives. And what's the instant way to be happy? How can you get instantly happy when you're not?
Well, you can
eat something, you can ingest something, you can smoke something.
Yep.
And I can do that right here in my house.
Yeah.
And before you know it, I'm in a bad habit, bad situation, and I don't want to go on a date. I don't want to meet somebody. You know what I mean? So fuck, that's
totally
terrible.
Well, it's why porn is like such a big business, and so but it's also
makes me really sad.
It does, and it's also why it is so easily accessible, because whoever they are, they want it very easily accessible because it porn is one of those things that just shoots you with an immediate shot of dopamine, but then there's a crash right after that. And then that's how people get into these porno addictions. And that's a sad, sad place to be. Yeah.
We're getting deep, aren't we?
Well, think about it.
Here's a funny, interesting thing is you can't go back in life. You can't have regrets in life. So where you're at right now, there's a reason you're at that spot because of the trail that you followed. And that's where you're at. When I met my husband, when I got married, I had this realization at one point in time. I went, I wish I didn't have the other 4 guys. I wish he was the only guy. I wouldn't be me if I would assume that those 4 guys had to happen for him to happen, but I wish I wouldn't have had him. And I'll be honest with you, I've never seen what would be explained as actual porn. Like, this is a porno. Watch this.
You've never just
no. But I'm a woman.
At a college
movies do fine.
At a college party,
Bridgerton works.
Nobody broke out a VHS
and dance moves. No,
you've
I
never
was the
once
one knocking on your door.
Not even one little half a second of a nothing, not one frame.
Okay,
come on.
When I babysat a family that had Cinemax, so there's a few late night. Maybe that
soapy boob movie.
Yeah, soapy boob movies.
That's okay. Yeah.
I understand soapy boob movies more than belly. What did belly to belly?
Belly to belly.
I don't think you should ever say that again. That's something weird. That's just not
just the word belly is a funny word.
Well,
anyway.
Belly to belly. I'll tell you after the podcast what that can mean. But anyway.
Oh, I know what it can mean.
Then why do you say it?
Because it's funny.
You're an idiot. All right.
And then belly's a funny word. Anyway.
So where was I going? So
you were talking about your porn addiction. Yeah.
Yeah, my porn addiction. But I've met some men that they're trying to get off of it.
Yes.
Because they want, from what I understand, and some of the jokes that I hear about porn, it's not realistic. And I've met some young men that are great young men that invest in that. It's probably the same path a lot of men follow. And they now are in a loving relationship. And it took them 3 times as long to understand what a loving relationship was because of porn. It took them a while to understand what sex is like and feels like when someone loves you. And it's infinitely better than anything that you will do in porn.
For sure.
Yeah. So then add someone who loves you for who you are, for all your craziness, and then put them in a swing. Way better.
Make sure you're into a stud.
You know,
though, you don't want the swing breaking out of the ceiling drywall.
Real men know to screw into a stud.
Yeah.
Women screw into a stud. New joke.
You know, it's funny.
That feels too easy.
It's funny you say that about past sexual partners because I have a friend that their kids are going to be getting married, and by all accounts, they are both
each other's
virgins.
First?
Yes, each
Wonderful.
other's first, or
wonderful.
Yeah, and the Joe of 15. Not even that long ago.
Sure.
Past Joe, especially to the son who's getting married, would have felt inclined to be like, dude, you got to go out and play that field for a while. It's dude talk. I know.
Yeah.
So this is like dude locker room talk. I'm kind of pulling the curtain back for you,
Sure.
right? As a guy razzing another guy about, being exclusive to one girl his whole life, as a guy, like it or not, agree with it or not, society and culture says you should razz that guy a little bit about going and playing the field. But now, I look at that and I think, good for both of you.
You know what? I'll take it a step further. I say to live a happy, content, successful life in this world today, everything that culture tells you to do, turn and go the exact opposite direction.
Bingo.
Go the exact opposite direction. Because the theirs, they're missing the boat huge. Huge. Speaking only for myself, I can't think of anything more manly than a man loving one woman his whole life. I'm not saying there's not ups and downs. I'm not saying you're going to look at your wife some days. I look at my husband some days. I'm like, I want out. Maybe I really just mean I want like 3 hours to go buy myself some shit in my Amazon cart and go to a movie and get away from you. But to love someone and work on that and build that, that's manly.
That's some real cowboy shit.
That's real cowboy shit. I am so blessed. My parents just celebrated their 58th wedding anniversary, something in that caliber. 54, something like that. Still married, still happy. They have their, my dad can't hear, and that's annoying to my mom. And every other week he wants the Marquee Network to get cut. But what a blessing that I got to come from 2 people that loved each other. And I wish I didn't have to say it's a blessing. I wish every single human being got to come out that way. And it's not true because we live in a shit world that's full of evil. That when we say those theirs, whatever they want, I'll boil it down to evil. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So when you're surrounded by all that crazy shit and people get sucked into it, we all get sucked into it, just taking the patience to go, wait a minute, I don't need that. Or wait a minute, that's going to turn me around. But the world moves so fast, and we compare. I want what you got, and I feel for younger people that have to deal with that. I hope there's a turnaround, that happens, and I hope by me being as good a person as I can be in the moments I can, maybe I'm doing a good thing for somebody, and they go, oh, I can see that. I had one young comedian that's a really funny guy. He always knocks himself, though. He'll tell a good joke, and then he kind of goes, well, that, whatever, And I'm like, why do you do that? Don't do that. And then he said to me once, he goes, you got the winning lottery ticket. Meaning I go home to a family and a house and all this other stuff. And I go, I had to work for it. It didn't just show up. And I still have to work for it, You
got to work twice as hard to hold on to it.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really super easy, and I'm really lucky in that regard. And then sometimes I have to grow my hair longer than I want to.
I love what you were saying about the comedian who's hard on himself. That's something that's, I think, so hard to do, is to just accept a compliment and just accept it gracefully and just say, I really appreciate you telling me that. Thank you, and move on. It's one thing that I razz my wife about a lot. Yeah. Because, I'll give her a compliment and she'll be like, yeah, but. There's always a yeah, but that comes right out. And I'm like, stop doing that. Yeah. Stop doing that. Just smoke in that compliment. Just hold it in your lungs as long as you can, right? And
when you said that, I imagined when people smoke old fashions. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah.
They're delicious. And when you said smoke that in, that's what I imagined. That's such a beautiful way to make that drink.
Do you guys have a torch thing at home? I had one,
but I never did it correctly, and I probably should try again. But
it's a treat.
We'll get them. It is a treat. It is a treat when they're made well. I make old fashions at home, and Eric says they're really good, but I kind of keep it half-assed.
I should come over for an old fashioned sometime.
We have old fashions for sure.
Do you use the good dark cherries?
Yes.
You have to use the dark cherry. You can't use those crappy ice cream sundae ones.
We use cherry simple syrup that Woodhill Reserve makes. And then I've got a bunch of different bitters, so whatever you're in the mood for.
Do you like to go out in the Quad Cities for martinis?
I've never really been a martini gal.
Or just drinks in general. Like when you said Eric?
Yeah, Eric is my husband.
Do you and Eric go out to different bars and different hot spots around the Quad Cities and try something off the cocktail list? Or
I will. You know what's a fun date night to try? Eric and I used to do this. Maybe we do this once or twice a year. We'll date hop. So go somewhere and have a drink. And then go somewhere else and have an appetizer. Go somewhere else and have a meal. We usually split because we want to get more in, and we don't want to get stuck at the same spot. And then go somewhere else maybe and have dessert, and then go somewhere else and have an evening cocktail.
I love doing that.
Yeah. So when you go out, if you go out enough, you kind of go, this place really just has a good creme brulee. So let's go there. We know that'll be that place. And then this place has a good appetizer. This place has a good salad. And that's really fun.
Well, then let's do this.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll be a little slutty about it. We'll pre-do a reel here, right? This will be our reel, okay? So this will be reel worthy. So
okay.
Let's pretend you and I are going to go out on a date together, okay? And then you get to pick the first place and tell me what we're having, and then I'll get to pick the next place, and we'll plug some restaurants around the Quad Cities.
Okay.
All right. So we're heading out. What are we driving? That's immaterial. Doesn't matter. Something cool. Something bitchin'. We're driving something bitchin'. All right.
I'm just glad to go out and dress up.
Okay.
I'm wearing a sundress. It's summertime.
Okay. I'm gonna probably wear this.
Fair.
I'll change these ugly shoes
Cowboy
from
boots
Farm and Fleet. Yeah, probably some.
Sweet,
some boots, some boot boots. Yeah.
All right. Okay. We're going out. Are you picking the first place? Where's our first drink? It's summer.
Our first drink is we're gonna go to, of all places, Biaggi's.
Okay.
And we're gonna order the Grey Goose cucumber martini.
That sounds great.
It will rip your freaking face off. It's so good. So Biaggi's cucumber martini.
Okay. And we're sitting at the bar.
Oh yeah. We're just going in. At the bar. We're getting a drink, and then we're heading out to go get an appetizer and another cocktail.
Okay. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's in LeClaire. It's a place in LeClaire, and I want to say it's called Pete's, but maybe I'm wrong. It's right next to Five Cities Brewing.
In LeClaire. Next to Sneaky Pete's, or where Sneaky Pete's used to be?
Next to Five City Brewing, LeClaire, Old Bettendorf.
Is that a little wine house?
There's a where you can hit golf balls.
Okay, well we'll find it. We'll plug the name in. Katie, you look this up. You're supposed to be the producer, Katie.
What's the restaurant? You can clip this better for our date.
Yeah,
okay.
No, that's fine. We got to find the name of the restaurant in
and then I'll say it for clip worthy.
In LeClaire. What are some other characteristics about? Is it on the right-hand side of the road when you're heading through LeClaire up the river?
That big main drive.
Yeah.
Well, this is actually.
Well, Katie's looking that up real quick. Can I tell you?
If this is going long, I'm sorry.
No, this is great. If you're not in a hurry, I'm not in a hurry.
Okay, good. And you're paying Katie, so she is.
Yeah, Katie will just get up and leave. Eventually, Casey will just tag in. But the city of LeClaire, whether you love the whole American Pickers movement or not, whether you're a fan of the Pickers or not, immaterial.
Sure.
The city of LeClaire should kiss Mike Wolf's butt. They should, just from the sense of everything that got brought into that town over the American Pickers craze. There was a lot of people that built businesses in that town because of being able to ride on the coattails of that show. Not just because of that show, but I think that show gave that town enough notoriety where people started sniffing around, and then a lot of people went out and started a business and thought there's an opportunity here. I think it gave some people the opportunity. Or do you not feel that way?
You're blowing me away because I never watched the show.
Oh, well.
I've never seen it.
Let's just face it.
I met the little guy once at a Beck's party.
He died.
Yeah, he passed away.
Either way, they created something around this. They were on TV for 15 years. Katie, do you know the name of it?
Are you thinking of Jerry's?
Jerry's. Okay.
Oh, Jerry's?
Yeah.
Oh,
Here's
okay.
where we're going. So you picked a great drink. That's our first drink.
Yep.
Now we're going to drive to Jerry's out LeClaire and Bettendorf. And we are going to have as our appetizer ribeye bruschetta.
I've been to Jerry's a million times. I've never had the ribeye bruschetta.
So good. We're going to be outside around the bar.
Okay.
Ribeye bruschetta.
What are you ordering me to drink?
Oh my gosh, they have a really good old fashioned, I know, for a cocktail, and they can change their old fashioned based on maybe the berries that are in season. So I've been there and I've had a huckleberry old fashioned, but
I didn't know you could do a variant. I've always
there was one when I went last time. There was a variant, but this was last summer. But I'm telling you, that's the appetizer, and they have lots of good crafted cocktails, so you can get a good crafted cocktail.
Boy, we are off to a good start.
We are having a great day.
As a little extra credit, I will say the lobster roll at Jerry's is insanely good.
I've never had a lobster roll.
The lobster roll with the old fashioned is just it. Oh man, yeah.
That's awesome.
Good thing
I've
I'm
never
sitting
had
down.
A lobster roll.
Yeah.
I would love to try one. Okay.
Okay, and then we're gonna hop in our bitchin' Pontiac with T-tops, and we're gonna blast back. We're gonna go across the river now.
Okay.
And we're gonna go to East Moline.
Really?
And there's a hotel. Katie, I'm going to need you to look this up. There's a hotel. I don't know if it's called The Landing or something. It's
at the top?
Yes. Have you been into that?
I have.
Okay, that overlooks the river. The Bend. Is that what it's called?
That's the area. I don't know what that hotel is called.
Okay.
But it's, yeah.
That bar up there that overlooks the river. Have you been up to the bar?
I have had a drink there.
The scenery is incredible.
Okay.
And they have a pomegranate martini that is the most delicious. I mean, I'd put it up against and it's on a different plane than the cucumber one because what's the name of it, Katie?
With
the River Room.
The River Room?
Perhaps. I don't. It's atop the hotel.
I do know that
rooftop lounge.
Okay, go to the rooftop lounge, and if we're hungry, if we want a little snacky snack,
okay.
Their charcuterie board, they have a charcuterie board that they bring out. Oh,
I'm loving this day.
And
this
it's
is a
great.
Day.
And you know what? You know what we haven't done is eat a bunch of mashed potatoes and gravy and 16 beers, and then you feel like hell. But yes, we're gonna do pomegranate martinis, and we'll at least get the small charcuterie board, if not the big one.
Perfect. This sounds delicious.
Now what are we doing?
Ooh, gosh.
We almost got to have one more drink and possibly one drink and a dessert.
And
Or do you want me just to take the lead on the date and you figure out where we're going last?
You take the lead. What's one more place? Because it sounds like you go out to eat a little bit more than I do.
We do have some really good friends that we love to go try out new places, and we call it martini hopping.
You like martinis, vodka or gin?
Vodka. Gin will make me wish for the electric chair. Yeah, I can't do that. Oh no,
I am not a fan. Good. So yeah, vodka martinis. Because I married a guy who loves bourbon, so I kind of have just been a bourbon. He also doesn't like mushrooms, so I haven't had a mushroom in who knows how long.
Well,
isn't that weird? And I'm fine with it. It's not like it wasn't a deal breaker.
We're going to the Phoenix. Downtown
Really?
Davenport. They've got a chocolate martini that'll knock you around pretty good.
That's like dessert.
Well, we're kind of there.
We're wrapping it up.
We're kind of there. You know, the chocolate, when the chocolate martini comes out, that's when you're kind of at a fork in the road. Mm-hmm. You're like, all right, we're either going to go down dessert row here and then everybody's going to be kind of done. Okay. Or we got to take a hard left and we got to just do a round of shots and get back on that pony.
No, we are not dirtying this evening with shots.
No.
Can I finish this night?
Yeah, get us into the end zone here.
Chocolate martini, that can work for dessert for me. Okay. I'm good with that. I'm going to say, let's just take hold hands. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful summer night. Let's walk down the street.
Little breeze.
To that little bourbon shop that's right next to Great River with the leather chairs like this. Get a smoked old-fashioned, and let's pick out cigars.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a gal that doesn't mind a good cigar.
Where is this place we're going?
It's right next to Great River Brewery. It used to be all those barrels that were...
Where is Great River? Are we downtown Davenport? Okay.
We sure are. Right, Great River Brewery is across from Half Nelson and the Last Picture House.
Okay.
It's right kitty corner. By the way, the Great River Brewery, when it reopened, because when the floods happened, it shut down for a few years. When it reopened, it now serves food. They make a fantastic Caesar salad that's like big enough for 2 people to eat.
Really? It's been a long time since I've had a really good Caesar.
Yeah.
You know a traditional Caesar salad I think has some kind of sardines in it?
I don't want that. But that's fine.
What's the name of it, Katie?
I'm still looking.
Oh, okay. So we'll go to that place.
Yeah, I think just end the night there.
I think
you want to keep going? I'm tired.
Here's the thing. One last one. I'll give you a bonus one. Let's just say the night is really cooking because we're right by the Last Picture House.
Okay.
The Last Picture House, their bar is absolutely top notch.
Really?
The drinks they have at that bar at the Last Picture House are off the charts good. All the cocktails are named after a movie or something within said movie.
So fun. Yeah.
So they make a drink called a Lebowski, and it's a White Russian, and it's got the little pokey stick things that they put in there.
Sure.
And if you're a White Russian person, you won't find a better. Like when we go to the Last Picture House, I will always get a White Russian from there.
Funny.
And it's super good. It's super good.
I don't think I've ever had a White Russian. I once tried Pepsi and milk because Laverne from Laverne and Shirley drank it, and it wasn't the worst. It wasn't terrible.
That's gross.
It was like a creamy A&W Ripper.
Do you not drink a lot of creamy stuff?
Bailey's on ice, maybe, if I got a sweet tooth action going. I just don't drink a ton.
Yeah, we'll try a White Russian.
But I like a good crafted cocktail. I want to look pretty. Speaking of Last Picture House, have you ever gone to their movies on the patio?
Yes.
We went on the 4th of July last year. They played Independence Day, and I was like, we're going. And it was a beautiful weather night. And that's just the kind of cheesy fun that you want a movie on the 4th of July to be. And I will always be on the lookout. I think they're doing all the Star Wars this summer.
Dude, how freaking cool is that place? How many people have you mentioned I'm pointing at you. I'm angry about this point here.
Dear God.
How many people have you mentioned the Last Picture House to and they go, I've never been there. And you kind of get mad. I get angry when people tell me that.
You live amongst muggles. I'm around a lot of comedians and stuff, so artsy people. So they have been there. They love it. That's totally cool for them. I will say I used to be a big movie person, but I lived in Phoenix in my 20s. So for 10 years, it was so hot there. You just went to a movie every week, maybe two. And as I got older and was involved in more stuff, I have not been to the movies. We rarely go, maybe once a year. And there's like a couple movies I'd love to see. But then that's technology for you too. Like in 6 months, I can buy it at home. And then I can pause when I want to go to the bathroom and nobody's on their phone in the middle of it and I can kind of dial in. But there's some movies I'd love to go to the movie theater and see. It's not bad enough weather, for me to go to the movies. It either needs to be super, super hot. Maybe next week will be a good movie week, or super rainy and crappy. It just never works out for me to go to the movies anymore. But I loved I'm on the lookout because I think they're going to have like Return of the Jedi or something at the Last Picture House on the patio. And we'll go on the patio. So fun.
I need you to snap me out of a funk that I'm in when it comes to movies and TV.
Okay.
I'm in such a funk where I'm having a really hard time watching anything that is fictional. Anything at all.
Okay.
If it doesn't feel 100% real and authentic to me, I just want nothing to do with it. Especially if I am sensing I'm purposely being tricked. Here's a theme I always have, and the ladies always get upset with me. I always bring it back to WWE. They're like, please quit talking about WWE. But let me tell you real quick why I'm such a fan of WWE.
Okay. And a lot of guys are. A lot of guys are.
Yeah, but as an adult, here's why I can appreciate the product and love it for what it is and watch it with my son.
Okay.
And not just roll my eyes at it.
Sure.
Because the WWE has made it abundantly clear, hey, we're not trying to trick anybody here. They openly admit it's called kayfabe. It's like just going on the ride and enjoying the ride for what it is. But we all know that guy didn't just actually kick that guy in the side of the head.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
So the WWE has openly said, this is all a fugazi here, but just enjoy it for what it is, right? Okay. And so I don't feel like I'm being lied to because up front I've been told this is what you're going to get. When it comes to anything else out there, I just feel like I'm being lied to. Unless I feel like something's 100% authentic and real and truthful, I can't enjoy a fictional movie. And it's so sad. I wish I could.
Are you talking about movies that are fiction that seem real? Like it's just a character-based story? You're like, I don't like that because it seems like there are real people like that in the world. Do you need to go so far into fantasy, so like superhero movies are your jam?
Yeah.
Maybe science fiction movies are your jam? Those kind of things where you're like, this is a whole nother fictional world that I can just enjoy. And because that's what the movies are meant to do.
Yes.
And I don't know when we got into this. I don't know if we make them about this guy that used to, keep people in a cave for 30 years, then that wins an Oscar. Like, fuck, that's annoying. I'd rather be entertained. You want to be entertained. So what's wrong with that? Don't be in a funk. Just go back.
I'll tell you where my funk is.
Yeah.
It's the constant subliminal messages within mainstream movies where there always seems to be some kind of little narrative they're trying to sneak in or some sort of social issue that they're kind of doing a quick plant in the flag and moving on.
Watch those.
It's hard to avoid them, and that's what's kind of turned me off to them because it's like, man, I was just watching this superhero movie, and why did they have to do that little nod to that little group over there? Why did they have to do that? Why? There was no reason for that. It was like at the end of Thor: Love and Thunder. Now that is a superhero movie that did more social winks and nods to different social warrior type projects. That one was tough. Like at the very end.
I didn't even watch that one, but the second Thor, God, that was fun. There's a really fun Thor.
Anyway, I was about to be very negative there, but anyway, you know what I'm getting at.
Just don't watch those.
I know, and I need to just brush them off, and I think I'm getting a little bit better at brushing them off.
I think I know how you can rejuvenate your love of movies. How old's your son?
9.
Prime age. Why don't you just reintroduce him to all the movies you loved as a kid?
That's what we're doing.
Has he seen Monster Squad?
My kids have
Has he seen Goonies? Has he seen?
My daughter, who's 11, her 2 favorite movies are Goonies and Back to the Future. We've seen them a million times.
Yeah, E.T.
We just watched Terminator 2 the other night.
Awesome.
You know, but yes, all of the classics. We have run the gauntlet on 80s and 90s movies. But we don't really get into a lot of the Disney stuff. I'm not a big Disney guy.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, but give them your kids, your favorite kids movies, Top Gun. Go back to that kind of stuff when movies were great, that kind of thing. Or even go back to Disney like Mary Poppins and Jungle Book and things from the 70s, 80s. Disney, if that's what you...
Yeah, the older ones.
Original kind of...
Yeah.
And you don't get really a message in there kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do it that way.
The messages are in there, but they're buried deep. You don't see them at face value.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well, at least we had a great date before we walked out of the movie there. Yeah.
We forgot the movie was playing because the drinks were so good. And I love sitting at a bar, especially if it's just the two of us. Sit at the bar, talk to the bartender, move around. What kills my soul is every once in a while my husband will pull his phone out. I'm like, shit. I didn't want to be that couple. And here we are, that couple.
Oh, will you guys dual scroll at a...
He's the big scroller.
Yeah.
He's the big scroller. And he knows that I don't enjoy it. That's the best I can do. I'm not going to nag.
I've been leaving it in the car.
Good for you.
It's so hard. I feel like I'm leaving a child in the car.
Well, if it's too hot, you can burn it.
I know. I've been leaving my phone in the car, either at a baseball or softball game or at a restaurant. Like
There's nothing so important unless you're expecting a text or somebody's going to show up.
And I'm not that important. And who's going to call me in case of emergency, right? If I have my family with me, like it can probably wait. It can probably be a missed call.
My dad took the phone off the hook and put it in a drawer, because it was landline on the wall, and it would go and then stop. And we were like, what if there's an emergency? And like, they'll call us in the morning. Didn't care.
Oh, he would just take it just so it wouldn't ring in the middle of the night.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with that. I turned mine's the alarm, but I put it at the far end, so I'm not. And every once in a while, if my dog gets up or something, or we hear something, I might go and look and see what time it is to see how much more time I have to sleep.
When do we get to see you live?
27th of June, so in 2 weeks at the Speakeasy. I think it's an 8:00 show, and it's a really great lineup.
Where's the Speakeasy at?
In Rock Island.
I've never been there.
Right next to that Circa 21. It's their little side theater, and it's really cute. It looks like a speakeasy. You would have to be the judge. You like really good drinks, see if they make good drinks. But that's where I'll be doing stand-up with Alomeen and Samar Abdul and Damon Howard, and they're all solid comedians. It's a fun night. I don't know what tickets are, probably like $10. Pretty easy going night for that.
I'd like to come check you out.
You should.
Yeah.
You should. It's the only show that I'm going to be doing locally for quite a while that I've got on the books.
Plug your social media stuff.
Okay. Do I look right in the camera? I've been giving them side view this whole time.
You have to look and say, "Hey guys," and then tell them what to make sure to do.
To the 400 people that are watching, listening.
Yes.
If they stuck around, thank you, one, for sticking around. Don't cancel me. And Leslie Mitchell Comedy on all social media platforms. And by all, I mean, I'm a 50-year-old woman, so all is Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. TikTok I regret pretty much every day. But those three, and then lesliemitchell.com. But you're going to get everything you need to get on Instagram, which is my favorite one.
That one I struggle with the most. You've
Really?
got over 2,000 followers, almost 2,100. I think as of before you came in, you had 2,097 followers on Instagram, which is
my
way more than me.
My 25-year-old sexy niece has like 5,000 followers, but she has good boobs.
Oh, keep posting.
There's weirdos that
keep posting.
that know what porn's all about that probably follow I said to my niece, You don't know 5,000 people. Like she'll get 800 likes for some, dance. She's a dancer in New York.
Yeah.
You got 874 likes. No, you don't know that many people. And she's like, it is what it is. She's a pretty grounded girl, but she's sexy.
I have a buddy who his daughter is like 19 or 20 at this point.
Yeah.
And we're friends on TikTok, and she's always liking all my content.
Yeah. That's
very, very gracious of her. And I want to be able to be reciprocal with the likes, but she's always doing one of these type of things on like a boat or something, and I'm like, I can't like that. I'll look like a creep.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And so I feel bad. So
that's the downside of being thick and hairy.
Yeah, you have to be a
gentleman.
Good, you have to be a good guy.
You have to be a good guy.
You don't have to be a nice guy. You got to be a good guy.
Be a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you are.
Thank you. I think you're a wonderful lady.
Oh, thank you.
I do.
Very nice of you.
I do, and I wish you the best of luck. If I'm in the crowd, I'll go like this. I'll go. That's my little code whistle. I got that from my dad, and my kids now know if they hear that to look up for me. It's like that bird outside. That little summer bird. Yeah. So if you hear that, it's either that bird or it's probably me in the crowd.
Don't do that.
I'm going to whistle. I'm going to do that at a quiet moment in your set so you know I'm out there.
Let me clarify. Did I say my show was on the 27th? It's actually on the 28th at the Rock Island Speakeasy.
I will be there.
Just for you.
I will be there.
Just for you
then.
and your whistle. Be there the next day.
Leslie, you've been so gracious with your time. Thank you for coming in. This is fun,
you.
right?
I hope I find my way home. This is great. Thank you, Wilton, Iowa. Joe, Katie, for putting up with all this. And it was fun. I am so happy that I came out here.
All right. Well, Leslie Mitchell, everybody, thanks for joining us. And have a great rest of your evening. See you later.